So we're talking about stock markets and astrology today,
Of
Akash.
course. And I think we'll start the discussion with a brief introduction on what planets and placements and houses you can look at in your own chart or in anyone else's chart to see whether one will have some sort of luck or earning or maybe karma towards the stock market. Now you have to remember one thing. When astrology was invented or created or discovered or however, we did not have the stock market back then, right? All we knew was that all we know now as well is that you need to be very smart with numbers and in particular traits to be able to understand stock market and do something. It's not that someone has a placement, which we will discuss, and they just enter the stock market and find their luck. Yes, there are direct placements, but one has to see, all right, with those placements in today's world, if the person is actually able to do stocks or not.
Hmm.
Okay, so doing stock becomes one thing, and then making money from the stock market becomes another. It's possible you know nothing about stock, but you invest because of someone else and you end up making a lot of money. All right. So I will also, by example, show you a chart where a person knows stock very well, has made money from stock, and has lost it as well. So we will see how these placements come into effect. But I want to ask you first, like I always do, what planet comes to your mind when I say stock market? Think about it very carefully. Stock.
Venus,
I understand you link it because of the finance link or the wealth angle, but think more. What can be the most important planet when it comes to stock and speculation? Is the right word.
Rahu.
Perfect. Rahu becomes the planet. Now remember, whenever you see windfall gain in any person's life, Rahu almost has something to do with it all the time. Because anything that happens suddenly and huge in your life is going to be done by Rahu. All right. And the result is almost guaranteed.
Hmm.
Again, if we talk about speculation as gambling, because people get addicted to it, right? That is another Rahuvian trait, gambling. So once again, Rahu becomes very important. You are right in the sense that Venus will show finance in general, all right? But as much as I have seen, Rahu is the primary planet for any sort of gain from the speculative market. And other than Rahu, Mercury becomes very important. Okay, Mercury
Because
is a
trading.
planet, exactly, it will grasp things. So you put it in a situation where it is linked to a planet that rules over the fifth house. If Mercury sits in an important house like the fifth I just mentioned, so it can become very important. And in houses, there are three houses I have seen that become primarily important. Of course, the fifth, we all know, is a person's intelligence, their ability to see things and understand them. Their grasping power is the fifth house. So speculation is also seen in the modern world from the fifth house because आप कितना दिमाग चला सकते, आपका दिमाग कितना चलता है, कहाँ चलता है, ये fifth house से और fifth lord से हम देख लेते हैं.
Hmm.
So it is true, yes, if Rahu straight away builds an association with the fifth lord or the fifth house, we can say a person might be able to speculate, right? They have the brains, or they can make money from stock market if other positions, let's say, support it.
Hmm.
Because it
Got
is
it.
not necessary that a person has Rahu associated with the fifth lord or fifth house, and they always do speculation. Even speculations of many types. I can speculate about the stock market, right? I can speculate about the entertainment industry, that I'll make a movie, release it, and this will happen. That's also a
Right.
kind of speculation.
Hmm. Hmm.
So one has to really see the combinations. Now, I'll tell you a few pointers. Like I just said, Rahu becomes important, Mercury becomes important. Rahu is the main planet. All right. And then after Rahu, there are houses. There's the fifth house, the second house, because it's a wealth house,
Hmm.
and the 11th house as well, because it's again a house of earning.
Hmm.
In some cases, I have also seen that the eighth house is playing a very important role because this is a hidden game that people do not see.
Hmm.
Okay, and it is an activity which can really transform someone's life. It can change things, suddenly happens. So, eighth house also covers sudden transformative events. This is regardless of the sign occupied by the eighth house in the person's chart. So, I said second house because it's clearly a house that makes dhanyo,
Hmm.
and the lord of the second sitting in the fifth. the Lord of the fifth sitting in the second, you can clearly say this person has saved income because of speculation. Fifth Lord sits in the fifth house is a good placement to speculate, but we have to see which planet is the fifth Lord. So different planets can denote an interest in different types of stock. Okay,
Hmm.
maybe one will show something with food, something with vehicles, more automobile, maybe a
Yeah.
multi there, and you see education businesses. It's
Yeah.
different types of things.
Like in my case, I always make stock market money if it's IT or finance, banking,
Finance.
stocks.
So, so it shows. So you say banking and stock. See, now I can say there are general placements as well, which will point to a person generally doing well with stocks, as
Hmm.
in someone who does stock every day. Okay, a good fifth house can indicate that, and good planets with the right signage. You need
Hmm.
a very detail-oriented energy in the fifth house to see that someone's doing stock.
Yeah,
Like
I
I
was
say
going
for
to.
Taurus ascendants, Virgo
Virgo.
comes in fifth, they will analyze things of the fifth house very deeply. They will find problems in it. So, such a
Hmm.
person, if a good planet comes and sits in this house now, they will be able to master this art.
And if
Okay.
Ketu aspects, and there's also depth in research. I don't know if Ketu cuts off
Because
also.
Ketu is linked to research. Yes, that's very well said. So, good planets sitting here almost always show that there is some substantial gain from stock. Like you can put Jupiter in the fifth house, and Jupiter is a Karak of the fifth house. We must know it is an indicator. So, Jupiter prime very does very well, usually with stock. All right. But the planet for stock has to be Sri Ram,
Hmm.
right? Because gambling, speculation, sudden gain, all these words straight away mean Rahu. Now, I'll give you some combinations that I have seen in people's charts. And these combinations will show a person who is particularly good with numbers. All right. There are also signs that I have seen associated with this. Okay. But in most cases, I have seen that people who have combinations of Mercury, Saturn, and Mercury kind of combinations are generally people who are good with numbers and finance. These are people who will understand stock or numbers in general. They will notice patterns.
Hmm.
Okay. And they are very detail oriented people. They will look at the inner things. This is a Saturn Mercury combination. Remember. So this makes for a very brilliant financial advisor, this combination. So you can see this combination in charts of many people who have either done stock or who are consultants in the same field. Okay, this is one placement I have seen again and again in charts of. You were trying to say something, please.
Yeah, there are also two things in stock market. One is trading, right, which is
Yeah.
numbers is, but the second is also picking a stock जिसमें intuition बहुत high चाहिए. Like one is research and the analytics part, but I am the other side, which is intuitively feeling like something will go up now and then putting your money on it. Of course, numbers have to back it. So that intuition, I think, also comes from Mercury, or is it
You can say it is related to Mercury. See, Mercury is basically that quickness. कितनी जल्दी पकड़ लेता है. Okay. But if we say the word intuition,
hmm,
and intuitive power, it has to deal with sun. It has to deal with sun or moon, luminary planets.
make a note of that? Yeah.
Though I have read classically that, I mean, this is not in the classics, but this is what modern astrologers say because stock never existed before. They will say that sun and Rahu is a bad combination for stock because sun is morality and Rahu will decrease that.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Okay.
will illegally try to make that. But that's not always true. But that being said, I have also seen
Clearly, it's not always true because I
not
haven't
always
had.
true. Yes, you will
Yeah.
find people who have made very good legal money with this combination. I
Mm.
don't actually believe in most of the data that's out there because this is something we need to research on. So the stock never existed classically. This is what modern astrologers have observed and
वो तो it's also on their interpretation, like
interpretations.
yeah.
It depends on individual to individual how they see things.
Because Sun and Rahu for me in stock market is also being able to see innovative companies through because Rahu is innovation and what do you
And
call it? Artificial intelligence.
in
So
a good signage, this can show that person works very well intuitively.
that's what I'm saying. So
Why not?
it's not always black and
But
white.
that since it's an eclipse kind of combination, so people they always take it in a negative sense.
Mhm.
I always find that Mercury Rahu is very good in stock or making money in general. is a very clever person, Mercury and Rahu. And if Mercury is to gain a little bit more strength, the mathematical abilities of this person will be wonderful. Such a person can see patterns in numbers. Just like I was saying with Saturn and Mercury, this is a bit different. All right, with Saturn and Mercury, the person's very strict. All right, they're very ethical and they're very structured in their work.
Also traditional. They'll pick traditional stocks like cement stocks, auto
Exactly.
stocks.
They will take traditional stocks of things like what? Of cement, of steel, of iron, right? Nothing with much innovation, just straight classical analysis.
Right, right.
With Mercury Rahu, you find the guy has like two brains. Okay, he's very clever. They will look for what's in it for me. उन्हें किससे फायदा है? मुझे ये चाहिए. Short term, this is going to give me money. So clever person makes money quickly. There are more placements I have seen, like the fifth lord being with Rahu, can show a general indication of the person being able to make money from stock, provided they invest.
Yeah.
If the person never invests, well, that combination is going to sit there, do something else. It really depends on who the fifth lord is, like I said, right? But I'll show you a chart now, and you will actually see combinations existing between the second lord, the fifth lord, and 11th lord. All the combinations that I spoke of, speculation combination, the loss making combination, you will see all of these. Should I
And if
share it?
second, fifth, and 11th get connected, then
That is a very brilliant, massive Dhanyo. Now, like I said, fifth lord. Now, fifth lord could be any planet you put Rahu there. Doesn't always mean that the person's doing well in stock or making money in stock. But when you got such massive combinations, second, fifth, 11th, you obviously know that this person has done something with stock, right? I'm going to show you a chart
and
right
Saturn conjunction with Venus is also, like you said, Saturn and
is a
Mercury, Saturn and
combination for
Venus.
big money. Yes, these are also people who will slowly make that money. They will understand how wealth moves. They'll be very realistic actually and sober about things like money. Now I'll show you this chart, and this has all the combinations we need to see. See very clearly Venus. Venus is Lord of the eighth house over here,
Yeah.
and it's sitting in the ascendant. Sudden changes. Sitting in the ascendant with the second Lord. So eighth Lord and second Lord sit together shows sudden gain in the person's life.
And Saturn and Mercury in Leo.
Definitely the best combination. Look at Saturn. Saturn is the fifth lord of this house. The
Mm.
lord, the planet that rules. The fifth signage is also Aquarius. Okay. This guy takes money from his network circles, from people in his network. He analyzes the markets and he tells them to invest, and he invests their money for them. In the period of 2020 to 2000, well, till right now, this person has consistently been investing in stocks and making a lot of money. Eventually, when 2023 began, he suffered a loss. And you can see the loss making combination, classical eighth sign in 12th house, Sun and Rahu. It's right next, it's second to Saturn and Mercury.
And in 12th, which is for
And the
loss.
12th, which is already an expense or a loss. So if you see these combinations, it is not wrong that Sun and Rahu could give you a loss. Okay. But I cannot say it is strictly the combination to indicate such a thing. But the other things we talk about, second lord in the first house, eighth lord in the first house, fifth lord in the 11th house, as you can see over here, right? So many different placements that show us that this is a person who is involved in speculation. And there is definitely good analysis and some sort of gain. Now, this is a man who has taken money from major industrialists in India and invested it for them, and it has resulted in huge gains for him and those people as well for a particular period of time. All right, we can clearly see eighth house connection with the second house is forming in the first, and the
Yeah.
fifth lord, Saturn itself, sits in the 11th house of gains,
Also,
sitting with.
I
Yes,
sorry
please.
to this sorry to break the chain of thought, but see, Piscean energy with Ketu is also intuition and research in a daily life.
We can say that, yes. Even Sun with Rahu can give you that kind of ability.
But I feel Ketu's role in stock market is very underappreciated, I feel.
Undermined, see, it's more of a research and analysis kind of.
And intuition. Matlab, in stock market you need intuition for timing things. Otherwise you will be right, but you'll have to wait for 3 years
You need to
without
be
any
able to
returns.
figure out, yes, you need these things. I always say that for a thing like stock, it is better to have analysis because it is a speculative venture and one could lose money or something. You know how attached people are to their wealth nowadays, right? So for something like stock, I always find analysis better. But you're not wrong when you say intuition will work because a lot of people are doing that, right?
Yeah.
And for intuition, for you need a strong fifth house, you need good sun. There are many placements we can talk about, but this is in general how you will see a person doing well with stock. Certain houses are involved, certain planets are involved, and you can almost always see this person will make money with stock.
So I'm going to just take it a notch up and ask, are you able to say which sectors or space will make him money? Like for me, I said banking. So
Now we are able to ascertain that, yes, and I can see planets in the fifth, planets in that influence the fifth to see what kind of speculation or what particular thing will this person speculate in. Like I have seen in the same chart. This is a chart where a Saturn Mercury combination exists. Correct?
hmm.
Okay. And I saw this in another chart separately. Both persons have been dealing in stocks related to steel. Okay.
uh, okay. If you ever meet this person, tell him defense also. He will do very well with defense stocks.
With defense. And how is your analysis of defense based? What is it
So
based on?
yeah. So Rahu and Sun is a clash of a commander and a king. And
Yeah.
Mars with Venus, Mars is soul, like your strategic intelligence. All of these are placements for a defense company stocks. All of these are, sorry, combination of a defense company stock. Venus and Mars is also conflict. Defense companies कब काम आती है? When there is a war, there is a conflict. When
Probably this guy has invested in it. I'm not sure. But steel
yeah,
is
yeah.
something he pointed out.
Steel is
He's
also a component, na
particularly
deep.
interested. Yes, he's particularly interested in trying to invest in stocks which are related to steel, right? And I say that because steel is also linked to Saturn a lot. है ना?
Hmm.
That is in general one stock that has given this guy money. He has lost money on other stocks as well, like on medicine and medical related stocks is where this guy lost his money. Okay. He could not make gains in that, but he was easily able to gain with steel. And all right,
Deep.
he's easily able to work with men. If a man invests money with this person, he makes a gain. Anytime a female invests, he's never given them gain.
Got
And
it.
these things I'm yet to explore, but this person has already told me, and I was able to ascertain to some point why. Right? But the point with the females and everything, that's still something I need to touch upon. Of
And
course,
you
it's
said
possible here that he has a more that he behaves in a very masculine way with females, even because of the combination in his first house.
hmm.
Okay, he has a bit of a force. All right, and you can also make out from this chart. This is a finance guy, very clearly. He's a finance,
Yeah,
finance.
that is pretty clear. I was also saying 2023 he started making losses. 2023 is when the war was starting its
Exactly.
momentum and everything as well. Like if he would have done defense, I just want to know what he did because all defense stocks did
So
amazingly well,
this
like
is a man who
100% to
has done
100%.
defense, who has done iron and steel. So he is a person who will invest in more, like you said, traditional
Mm.
stocks. He will look for the traditional business, just steel. He won't see what you're going to do with it. You can make planes with steel and you can invest in Lockheed Martin or something like that, right? But he won't do that. What will he do? He'll go and invest in stocks of steel. Look at the base companies and he'll put his money there. All right. And then he will also observe numbers. Now, this is where he's an expert. The observation of the numbers, the Saturn Mercury combinations. This guy can see the patterns and help people invest. He's a proper
Hmm.
consultant as well. But you see clearly fifth house, 11th house, second house, eighth house, just the houses I said, all of them somehow making a link.
Hmm.
See, I
Yeah.
did not have to do complex astrology, just very basic things. And I can ascertain that this guy has done something with stock, and he has.
Hmm.
So these are clear indicators, the ones we have pointed out. I'll repeat them once again. Second house, second lord, fifth house, fifth lord, 11th house, 11th lord, and the eighth house, the eighth lord. And their combinations with Rahu, especially the fifth lord,
Hmm.
Rahu itself becoming an important planet.
Specific Mahadasha also, like I know someone in Mercury Mahadasha shot up on his stock market
Yes,
gains.
this Shani Mahadasha for this person. Yes, fifth lord And fifth lord is aspecting the fifth house as well in the chart, so we know the event can take place. And yes, this guy most definitely had a gain. You can also predict it's a slow gain. It's still coming. So he will slowly make good money, right? Though there are few losses. Saturn's in an enemy sign. There are a few
Hmm.
losses. Sun is right next to it. Few losses. Okay. But there is gain nonetheless. We can find charts of people who have massive gain from speculation. And when I say massive, I mean massive. That really depends on the condition of the fifth lord. Like I said, fifth lord will show how the results will actually come to this person. And a speculation kaise kar.
Hmm.
And one example comes to mind a lot, which is obviously Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, the man who probably held stock in such a quantity that if he moved it, markets would crash. Companies would be done for. So much power in the hands of one person, right?
But
How does
also, he
that
never dealt with other people's money. He always he started with whatever, 5,000,
exactly?
crores to 5,000 crores, but he never took out external money.
Exactly. He always used his own, right? It was his brain. What can you say? What must his fifth lord be doing?
I have not seen his chart recently. I don't remember, but must be something with Mercury and Jupiter.
You can say that, yes. So an expansion took place in this guy's fifth house. Correct. And he really worked hard on his fifth house, did he not? You can start to figure out what is the ascendant and what's the fifth house. What is the one sign where we work very hard, the most hard
Saturn,
version? And what is the signage of hard work?
Capricorn.
There you go. Fifth house is Capricorn in Rakesh Jhunjhunwala's chart. And fifth lord is sitting with Jupiter in Sagittarius, okay, which is occupied in the fourth house, bad kid, and speculation. So you see two very major planets, karmic planets, kitna bada karam, and one of them is the Lord of the fifth sitting in the fourth.
I think नक्षत्र भी इसका हस्त है कहीं पे तो.
And Hast is always a nakshatra which Hast will bring ideas which people will not approve of. They will say ये नहीं हो सकता.
I used to do gambling stocks like Delta Corp
Exactly.
and
And that's where he found.
tobacco
And if a
companies.
Hast native does not follow people's advice and does his own work, they succeed. And there you go. Another thing about Hasta natives is that they bring big plans. Okay, big plans into action. They can do that. They have the ability to draft those plans. But only thing, a Hasta native should not be influenced by anyone. So I'll
No, he
share
was
Mr.
not. You'll see his interviews, he would
That
do
he
his
was
own thing.
alone. He was by
Yeah.
himself. That's true. So I'll share the chart with you. What chart can you see?
It's showing.
Right, you're
Yeah.
correct. His ascendant is in Hasta Nakshatra. So of course, it brings a person with a round body, small hands, a short height, okay, and almost always trying to do something which people think is not going to happen. Not possible. आप ये देखोगे हस्त वालों के ना खिलाफ ज्यादा एनी टाइम हस्त guy says I'll start मैं ना I'm going to start a stall and we're going to give out food. People will be like, no, you cannot, that can't be done. This ain't practical. And all a hust native is going to do is not follow it.
Hmm.
Okay, just do what their heart says. Now you see a lot of placements over here, a lot that can influence. You can see the eighth lord in the eighth house looking at the second. So that shows maybe there is possible sudden income or sudden change in this person's life. All right. Fifth lord sits with Jupiter. Saturn, being the fifth lord, sits with Jupiter, creates a very big Dharam Karam yoga over here.
He's built
Okay.
Narayani Dham right here.
There you go.
Yeah.
Big Dharam Karam yoga in this person. Big. And it's in
But
the
most
sign
people
of
don't.
Sagittarius, Mandir.
Most people don't know that about him. He's
Exactly.
built
He's
spiritual
donated
places.
yes to great causes because this is a wonderful yoga. He's gotten a temple made. He's completed some big karma in this life because the placement exists. All right. You can see these things clearly. You can see Moon in the second house, and you can see Mars in the eighth house looking at it. And Moon is the lord of the 11th. That's a Dhan yoga right there. Okay. Sufficient Dhan yogas, fifth lord in a major yoga in the chart.
Wait, Moon is what? Moon is the Lord of
Moon is the
11th.
11th lord sitting in the second.
Acha, like that. Okay, I got it.
And it is looked at, and it also aspects the eighth lord who sits in the eighth house.
And Mercury in 11th
Is already sitting in the 11th house.
His entire network was all traders and
All
stockbrokers.
traders.
And
There you
yeah.
go. If we just learn to look a little bit, one can clearly see what's going on with this person and how they will fulfill their major karmas. In this case, luckily, the combination exists that the fifth lord is joining Jupiter, and the fifth lord is a planet like Saturn. That shows big karam because these are the slowest moving planets. So
Hmm.
any chart where you find combinations of these planets or these planets entwined to each other, आदमी कुछ बड़ा वेंचर या बड़ा काम करता है लाइफ। ओके, उसे कुछ बड़ा काम जिससे रिलीफ भी पहुंचेगा लोगों को, शायद वो भी करना पड़ेगा। नाउ इन दिस केस वी कैन से ही बिल्ट अ टेंपल। लकीली यू टोल्ड मी दैट, एंड देयर इज अ धर्म कर्म योग इन द फोर्थ हाउस सैजिटेरियस।
So many people are fed there who visit every day. वहाँ पे इतनी like cows and like everything. Like it's a
Such a
very
big karma this guy has used his own money to fulfill. So no wonder because the yoga exists. The yoga also exists to make money from his network. All right, to gain money from things
hmm,
like this. And that
hmm.
sudden influx in his life, the sudden events, they're also very visible. Now you are right about one thing is that Dasha really matters. Okay, if I look at Rakesh Jhunjhunwala's chart, can you tell me when he made his major gains? What was the time when he really came to the fore and he was in the public eye for his gains?
वो मर्क्यूरी महादशा एंड केतु महादशा के आसपास है ये.
Exactly. I feel it's more in Mercury.
या cause हाँ 90 स्कैम 92 के टाइम पे so 83 to yeah correct.
Probably. Okay. Probably. But this is something we can still research on. What I wanted to point out right now is only the possible placements to see if a person will be speculating in this life or not. Right?
Got it.
I believe Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, what stock did he make his money on?
No, so he has, there are many, but last few that he did was a healthcare stock. So I was going to say Hasta and Star Health Insurance is something he brought to the
He has brought it
IPO.
out. So insurance can be seen from the 8th.
Sure, and also Hasta ka healthcare se connection.
Bilkul.
So I was
Hasta
saying
has
that.
a very big connection with healthcare and not just healthcare, but yes, helping people in general.
And
But
uski
yes,
last wish was Aska Airlines, right? Like,
Akash Airlines, I remember that.
but he has Jupiter retro, so I just wanted to ask, how does that affect
Now,
last
any
few
planet
minutes?
that is retrograde will occupy special strength. Okay, उसमें ज़्यादा ताकत आ जाएगी. Now, this
Okay,
Jupiter has purpose here in the fourth house. No wonder he built a temple. Okay, because it was very strong. ये चीज करना उनके personality का part बन गया, उनकी सोच का हिस्सा बन गया. He must have communicated this like a million times that I want to build a temple,
mm,
and that he did. So the Jupiter here really shows that inclination.
Saturn is also retro.
Now that Karam
Mercury
comes
is
in,
also retro.
and such major planets both being retro, both combined in the chart in a very important sign. That's a wonderful yoke this guy has. Wonderful. I can say a lot of the things in his life coming from him.
Mm.
है ना? तो ये बहुत अच्छा योग है for anyone who wants to do some good deeds in life. They can always, almost always, with this yoga, one you will always see the person with that, right? Even if this exists in a trine combination in the chart, जिनके यहाँ trine में भी आ जाएगा, you will see them helping people out. You will see them doing some major karma or karma, which is dharmic. Not dharmic in a religion sense, but dharmic यानी कि अच्छा काम, किसी का भला करा, किसी का फायदा करा, भगवान के लिए कुछ करा, है ना? मे बी अ हाउस ऑफ गॉड. आप वो इंटेंशन लेकर आते हो अगर, मे बी राकेश झुंझुनवाला had those intentions. I don't know about his personal life and how he was, but this is what I see here. So I'm almost damn sure that this guy did something for dharma, right? Something or the other he must have done for a good cause.